Things that literally make me fall in love with him all over again, that literally makes my heart melt and just makes me cry every single time. So, one of the things he does, it never fails unless he doesn't have his phone this weekend, the week he was in encampment, but every single morning since late October, early November, he calls me in the mornings. And literally is like, good morning, gets me up for school basically, because we all know, God knows, everyone knows. I'm like, at this point, his whole family probably knows this. I will ignore my alarms, okay? I will roll over, push dismiss on my alarm, roll back over, and go back to sleep. Now around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock his time, he'll call me every single morning and be like, good morning, beautiful, or something along the lines of that. And honestly, I don't ignore his calls. The other day, I almost ignored one because I was really, really tired because I almost pulled an all-nighter, but I still answered his phone call, and honestly, I think there was only one time I was not happy that he called me. He called me at 7 his time, so it was 6:30 this, like, over in Illinois, and I can remember answering the phone and being like, what do you want? That was the last time he called me that early, but that's something that makes me fall in love with him all over again. He literally calls me every morning and is like, hey, good morning, asks me how I slept because sometimes I'm prone to nightmares. And just being genuinely sweet about it, and being very patient, because there are some times where I'm still half asleep on the phone, and then there are times where I'm literally like, I have to call you back later, I'm about to pass out again. Making sure I actually eat, because in middle school I had, like, the end of middle school, so in 7th and 8th grade, I had an eating disorder, and I went from 160 to about 98, 97 pounds within a month. So to this day, I still have urges to throw up from this because I ruined my stomach a little bit. I mean, my stomach was already messed up from allergies and stuff like that, but this really hurt it. And he found out about it. He was pretty, he was upset. He said he wasn't, but I could tell he was kind of upset. Ow. I just hit the windowsill. Okay, so but he still makes sure I eat. And also, my blood sugar drops randomly. Like, we'll just bottom out like a bad food chain. And so there will be times where I'm like, I don't want to eat. And he'll be like, no, you gotta eat. So he worries about my well-being. And that's really sweet, honestly, because honestly, I don't even worry about my well-being. So he remembers small, meaningless things, like from random weirdness that I think I want to do at that point, to literally my favorite song that I'm obsessed with that month. And by weird things, I mean like cosplays I want to do. He's like, okay, and he'll surprise me by being like, so how's that one cosplay coming? Like, or are you gonna do this cosplay still? And he's demonstrated songs that I've liked several times, but the one that still sticks out is the first time we were talking about music was, well, I mean, like, not the first time, but the first time he actually surprised me with this and proving like, not really trying to prove, but like actually shocked me and stuff, was I told him about a song I was obsessed with, and it's called First by Cold War Kids. And I was like, I really like this song. And I'm like, that was the song I was obsessed with that month. And I still love this song because of this reason, and it makes me cry now, but we were walking around on a Wednesday night because at some point before all the youth kids have free time, and we were walking around, and he was like, hey, you want to listen to music? And I was like, sure. He gave me the earbud, And then I just hear that song playing. And honestly, it still shocks me to this day that he remembered that, because I barely, like, I kind of briefly mentioned liking it, and I found that really shocking and stuff that he remembered it. Something else that makes me fall in love with him all over again, that honestly amazes me, but anytime I'm upset and literally just look at him straight in the face and ask him, "Why are you even still with me?" He's always like, "Because I love you." And when I ask him why, he's like, "You know why. We've been over this." And I can remember asking him a lot of times, but the only time he's really given me a definite answer was, I'm not even going to say what he said because that's between us. But that honestly made me fall in love and fall head over heels for him all over again, and made me cry, made him cry because I cried. The way he knows when something's wrong. I couldn't have said anything to him or anything, and he'll just know when something's wrong. And there's been a few times that he's texted me or called me being like, "Hey, are you okay?" And the first time this happened, he texted me and was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was having a really crappy day, and I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine." And even over text, he knew, and he was like, "No, you're not," and then called me. This still continues to happen. I know when something's up with him. He knows when something's up with me. He just somehow makes me feel a lot better, even when I'm actually sick. I texted him over the weekend that I was sick and I had a stomach bug, was running a fever, the works, and I messaged him on Facebook, like, well, from Messenger, being like, "I'm sick." And he called me, he's like, "Me too." And I was like, haha. And he's like, "We're in the same boat." I'm like, "Yeah, except I'm on the other side. Like, I'm leaning over the side of the boat throwing up." And he's like, "Oh, babe, no." And I was like shivering, had a fever and stuff, and was sick. But even though I was sick, I was feeling a lot, like, I started feeling a lot better. And my mom was like, "Well, it's because your body started fighting it off." And I was like, my body never fights anything off, like, at this point. And I was feeling a lot better because he was there, because he makes me feel a lot better. He puts up with my annoying crap. Me being like, "I want a puppy," or "I want a baby otter," or "I want a ferret," or baby raccoons. He's like, "No, I mean it, no." And then I'll just be like, look at him with these sad eyes and be like, "Please." And he laughs and just melts. And honestly, seeing him laugh and melt makes me laugh and melt. And I miss him right now. I miss him on a normal day basis, but I miss him a lot more because he's on a weekend trip to camp. And even though he's only going to be really gone tomorrow and some of Sunday, I miss him like really bad. The last time he went to a camp, it was all week and it was brutal because it was the first week I had moved. And honestly, I was like, anytime my phone made any kind of noise, I immediately just stopped what I was doing, turned and looked at my phone, hoping that magically he left early, like they got done, or like for some reason he went home early or something. And I can remember being really upset when it wasn't him. And literally, the best way I can explain it is that every ounce of happiness just drained. Every bit of emotion except anger and sadness was gone. And there was always that moment of joy when I was like, he's home, and then it wasn't him. And the first time I actually was like, I called him babe or baby or anything, I was in the middle of a restaurant. We were getting ready to go see Phantom of the Opera. And he had just gotten home and he called me. And I can remember answering the phone and just seeing him being like, my baby's home. And honestly, I think after that, we were just a lot more closer. And that's another thing. He calls me when he gets home, or he lets me know when he gets home if he can't call me. There are days like these that I miss my walls, but another thing that made me fall in love with him all over again and repeatedly makes me fall in love with him is that he was the only one brave enough not to go through the gate. He climbed over the flippin' wall and broke it. He literally doesn't care that I am this broken, unlovable mess. Because he doesn't see the broken, unlovable mess. He sees the person he loves. And honestly, out of everything that I mentioned, that is what makes me fall in love all over again. That literally continues to make me be like, I love him more than anything. He is my inspiration. He's my happiness. He's my everything. Because he's one of the main reasons I can even feel emotions anymore, like at this point in life. So, I love you.